Hello again, this is Entropy.
And this is Lucifera.
Today we're going to be talking about the book of Revelation, and we're going to be giving a Gnostic interpretation of this book from a Gnostic perspective, that is, since we are Gnostics, the two of us. I can't stress enough that this is an interpretation. We don't pretend to have all the answers, and we are only giving you our personal interpretation. Some of it is actually backed up by more than just our own personal beliefs, but we would definitely like to open up a dialogue with this. Your interpretations are just as valid and as interesting to us as our own. Even traditional Christians can get some things right, although I don't believe that they're going to be agreeing with most of what we have to say. Anyway, if you have your own interpretations of this, we would be more than happy to hear you out, and please feel free to comment in the comment section. Again, let's show the difference between us and traditional Christians by saying that this is our only our interpretation and is not to be taken as gospel. But here we go. Now, to start with, because much of our videos that we've done where we are giving our own testimony, our own belief system, of course most of them revolve around our perceptions, correct perceptions of the traditional Christian church. And because of this, we want to start this video on Revelation all the way back into Revelation chapter 17. In this, we see John being carried away to see one of the many different things that he's shown in his revelation. Actually, before we get into it, I also want to state that the book of Revelation is regarded by most Gnostics as being part of the Gnostic canon, if you will. Matter of fact, the book of Revelation for many years was part of the Apocrypha until I believe the 19th century. So here we have Revelation chapter 17, verse 3. So he carried me away in the Spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornications. And upon her forehead was the name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Who does this woman portray? Who is this woman? It says that she is Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. An indication as to exactly who she is later, here in verse 9. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are the 7 mountains or hills on which the woman sitteth. Now, what city was built, what empire was built on 7 hills? This is fairly common knowledge. Of course, we're speaking about the city of Rome.
The Roman Empire was never dissolved.
The Roman Empire just became the Roman Catholic Church. Let's look at this verse up here again. Verse 5, and on her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Whenever you see a woman being portrayed in symbology in the Bible, it is a reference to a church. Now I do realize that in verse 18 it says, "And the woman which thou sawest is the great city." That great city is the city of Rome, which of course is the seat of the new, or fairly new, Roman Empire, which is of course the Roman Catholic Church. So whenever you see a whore, the whore here, whenever you see a woman being depicted in anything in the Bible, it is a reference to a church. So the whore is the Roman Catholic Church, and it says that she is the mother of harlots, and of course the harlots would be the other Christian churches. I have gone over this before in other videos, so this is not new to many of you. I also have commented on this many times to Christians. So this is absolutely not a new idea. It's not even my original idea, I don't think, unless I got it several years ago. But this is what the whore is. It's the Roman Catholic Church. So our approach here from the very beginning of this video is that you understand that this whore and the negative aspects of the Roman Empire, which people are still talking about, Christians, traditional Christians, oftentimes wonder where this new Roman Empire is going to come from. Well, the Roman Empire never went away. It just became the Roman Catholic Church. So we're starting with this and discuss, and so that you get the idea that this is the whore, and these are the adversaries to the true church, which is just again being established, which is of course the Gnostic Church.
In Revelation 3:9, it reads, "Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee." The synagogue of Satan would be the false Jews and Christians, the church. The saints would be like the Gnostics, and the people that will come and bow at their feet would be the false Jews and these Christians.
It's something, of course, to look forward to, but you've got to keep in mind the reason why I feel it's important, and have felt that it's important, to talk about this end time type things is something you can see right there in my screen name. My screen name is Entropy, okay? And generally speaking, entropy simply means chaos. Now, I'm not a chaotic person. I'm not in chaos. My life is very orderly and very unchaotic. So why would I use this screen name? Why would I continue to use it?
Out of chaos comes order.
I'm here, and I felt that for a very long time, since I was 11 years old and I first read this book. It was the first book I read out of the Bible. I won't go into detail here about why it is that I sat down and decided to read it one day. But at 11 years old, when I read this, I always felt this strong, the words here, I didn't understand them, but they resonated with me. I don't today understand a lot of what I read with regards to Buddhism, but they always resonate with me. It's like I have an understanding of them in my soul. So it's important to me, and I have put out several videos with regards to the book of Revelation, a good year, more than a year, before Lucy and I even met. So to me, this isn't a matter of, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. It's never been that way for me. Never been, since I first read it at 11 years old. For me, this is prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. There's nothing wrong with preparing yourself, even if I'm wrong and none of this comes to pass ever. There's nothing wrong with preparing yourself, and we're trying to prepare people mentally and spiritually as much as we can, as little as we might be able to do. We're trying to prepare you both mentally and spiritually for what could very, very well be the most trying times that this world has ever seen. And if you make it to the end, you will see a beautiful new world, which is compared in the Bible to the New Jerusalem. And this is the reason why we're doing this. We're not doing this to scare anybody or to say, look at us, we've got all this figured out. We believe, both of us believe, it's very important for those out there to prepare themselves. And whatever you do physically to prepare yourself, these preppers and whatnot, that's very little compared to preparing yourself, both spiritually and mentally, for what I am sure, beyond any doubt, is going to be a very, very chaotic time in the very near future.
Before moving on, when I was quoting this verse, Revelation 3:9, when I was talking about the Gnostics, I mean anybody who is awakened, who has that Christ consciousness. So when I said Gnostics, that's what I mean, just people who are awake and have that Christ consciousness. Here's a chapter talking about another woman who also represents, I believe, the other church, the true church. In this chapter, in chapter 12, verse 1, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pained to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne." In regards to the verse, I found this website called adishakti.org.
This is a very interesting article, and we'll put it up here in the description box. This article is quite fascinating with its comparison to Hindu tradition, Vedic tradition, and the divine feminine and the book of Revelation. It really is something that you need to read for yourself. It is very fascinating, actually. Lilith found this, Lucy found this, and she showed it to me. This is really, really interesting article. So we'll put it up here in the description box for you. Reading here at the end of the article, the divine woman. This is a description of these verses that Lucy just read. The divine woman, a central figure of Revelation, is the Comforter herself. The crown of stars indicates that her authority and heritage is of the divine Father. The moon upon which she resides is another symbol of the feminine. As the divine mother, she is giving birth, i.e. self-realization, and succeeds in producing a man-child. A man indicates spiritual maturity and dynamic action, and yet a child symbolizing purity of heart and the quality of innocence which Christ taught was essential to enter into the state of heavenly experience. The child, having the mystic awareness of self-realization, rules over the nations, indicating command of the earthly plane as well as over the inner country, the chakra system. The child of the Divine Mother is a Gnostic adept.
So, in this interpretation of the article for this woman, she would be the Gnostic Church.
More, I think, would be the old Gnostic Church, the original Gnostic Church, and she who is the head of the Gnostic Church, Sophia, the Divine Feminine.
So the child will represent the new Gnostic Church, the people for the new world.
And it says, of course, that this child rules with an iron rod, that he is the ruler of the new world, which, of course, would indicate the new Christ consciousness, which is going to be in the new world, whether that is incarnate in a human being or not, is also talking about the Christ consciousness, which will be part of the new system, the new understanding. Moving even past, terms like Gnostic or anything else, any other kind of earthly idea, because this is just the true church. It's not going to be necessary to be calling it by any particular name. Names are unimportant.
Going on with the article, he rules with an iron rod, the Kundalini, which mercilessly slays the forces of evil, the obstacles which obstruct her flow through the chakra system. The dragon who stands over the woman as she labors waiting to devour the child could well be the churches. Their 2,000-year vigil against the Divine Feminine, lest she produce a race of Gnostics, is evident in their manipulation and suppression of the scriptures. Revelations tells us that the divine children are destined to overcome the beast and establish a new age of divine awareness.
What I find very interesting is how many of people out there are awaking to these same ideas. It's as though we are all really tapping into the universal mind, because this didn't influence what Lucy was already ready to be talking about in this section of the video. She found this just today, and I don't think I could put it any better than they put it in this article at the end. The dragon who stands over the woman is the church. It's the traditional church, also represented in Revelation, as we already stated, with the Whore of Babylon. So much of Revelation is about these two churches, the true church and the church of the synagogue of Satan, if you like, in battle with one another, spiritual battle and possibly even physical battle here on this plane of existence.
At the end of the article here, it says, the last paragraph here, Revelation tells us that the divine children are destined to overcome the beast and establish a new age of divine awareness. Now, note here, overcome. Now, back to Revelation 17. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. Note, overcome. Now, isn't this interesting? From what the article said and what it says here, the lamb could be a collective or Christ consciousness. The lamb could be a collective or Christ consciousness. So, for example, well, let me put it this way. The Christians are looking for Christ to come back from the sky. If he comes back from the sky, there's nothing to overcome, you see. So if the Christ consciousness comes from a collective within us.
Well, what she's saying is that what would be the point of would you have to overcome something if you're already as powerful as the Christ is thought to be by the Christians? Overcoming something suggests at least that whoever is in this position, or whatever group of people are in this position of the Lamb, are going to have to overcome, which means that they are in a position that is not as powerful as the Christ that the Christians believe is coming in the sky, that's coming in the clouds. We are in a very interesting time in the history of this planet. There is a old Chinese curse that goes, "May you live in interesting times." And from a personal perspective, us as individuals, we have to overcome our own demons, our own shortcomings, in order to become these better people, in order to really obtain enlightenment and understand truly what Christ consciousness is all about, to be part of the universal mind. And very much that's what these verses could be about as well. There's so many different angles to look at when it comes to the book of Revelation. And taking it too literally is wrong, but not taking it literally enough is wrong as well. It's very much a allegorical book, of course, full of symbology, but it also we need to try to not look at things from a dualistic nature as the Christians do and say either it's symbolic or it's literal, because it could be both. It could very well be both.
As they say, as above, so below. I wanted to say too that in regards to this struggle, the lamb overcoming the beast, if you look at the church today and how it goes against the enlightened ones, or the Gnostics.
If you're a traditional Christian, what exactly are you overcoming? Traditional Christians, certainly in this country, in the United States of America, are not at all persecuted. Certainly not as much as they think they are. So as the civil rights movement used to say, we shall overcome. We shall overcome.
Who is the Lamb? Who is the Lord here? Let's look at 1 Thessalonians chapter 5.
Starting with verse 2. For yourselves know perfectly the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when he shall say, peace and safety, then suddenly destruction come upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Be ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. Now, what does this mean?
I would say this, that there are a lot of people in the world who are spiritually asleep. And so the Christ will come as a thief in the night. Now, we think about that.
How does a thief come? It's not only a surprise, which is what the traditional Christian interpretation of this verse is, that the Christ will come as a surprise.
Okay. The Christ is not going to just all of a sudden appear and then take people away and like that. The Christ will come quietly when hardly anybody is aware of it. There may be a few who are actually spiritually awake and notice it.
A thief comes in the middle of the night And what is it? Well, what is a thief? They're stealthy. They don't want you to be to notice them. It's not just a thief doesn't just jump in there and go, surprise, surprise, I'm here. Oh, a thief comes in. What is their intention? That they are stealthy. So, what exactly are we saying?
Now, as a thief, it probably could mean that Christ comes, Christ will incarnate as a person, and go around and talk about spiritual things, or to help people awaken. And a lot of the people in the world are just clueless. They won't listen. They will just shut it out.
Certainly not as this great, big, huge thing. A thief comes quietly, sneaks around, so you wouldn't notice a thief who would come in, a good thief who would come in and take, your valuables and get away with them. He doesn't want you to notice him. So the idea that Christ is going to come as a thief in the night, and that means that he's going to come in the clouds and he's going to get all of the Christians raptured up into heaven, not likely. not likely at all. Because a thief in the night would come quietly, which would probably mean that this person, that the Christ would incarnate again within a simple, ordinary, unassuming person. And this could just mean the Christ consciousness itself. It doesn't necessarily mean the actual reincarnation of that actual human being that we call Jesus Christ. It could be someone or a group of people that represent the Christ consciousness.
Now, if Christ does incarnate as an individual, and Christ goes around speaking of the same things and to awaken people, the church, and if Christ were to visit these churches, the church would surely crucify him or persecute him, or or persecute the Christ. Christ.
You know that the traditional church would crucify the Christ again. They would drag him out in the street and stone him to death. They would do it again. They do not recognize the Holy Spirit. The true church, yes, they do not recognize the truth. They do not recognize the true church, and like they did 2,000 years ago, it wouldn't be any different today. Just because we think that we're so advanced today, no, it wouldn't be any different. They would systematically kill the saints. That is, those people who are abiding by the Holy Spirit that is within the true church, the Gnostic church.
Now again, I would say that if Christ were to return, it would definitely be a simple person. Christ wouldn't come as someone who would be rich and live a fancy life and have fancy cars and make lots of money. No, Christ would come as a very simple person.
So look for the Christ as a thief in the night. Well, we really only touched briefly on a lot of the things that we want to talk about, so this is definitely going to be more than a one part about the book of Revelation, the Gnostic interpretation. So, wrapping this up, a little under 30 minutes long, we hope that you get what you want from this, that you take what you want, that you are able to resonate with at least some of the things that we've said. And we really would like people to open up a dialogue here so that people can express their own opinions with regards to the things that we talked about. As we always say, we are not the end-all and be-all of all understanding. That's why we are together as a group of people trying to be saints and trying to come to enlightenment ourselves. So that's it for tonight.
Okay, well, this is Lucifera.
And this is Entropy.
Good night, you all.